Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the 1111 Matrix Code Revealed. As always, I'm your host, Garrett King. Okay, folks, I have just a limited amount of time, so I want to try to get this video done as quickly as I can. So I want to try to get through it and not waste too much time. This is a video that I wanted to do last week, but unfortunately, as many of you know, we had to very sadly say goodbye to one of our fur babies last week, which was absolutely devastating. And I don't want to really go into it too much because I don't want to lose my shit on screen. So I'm just going to leave it at that and go ahead and jump into this. Now, the recommendation for doing the search came from one of my subscribers here on YouTube, Great Southern Land. So I thank you for this. I was not anticipating this massive matrix, all these search terms to come out of this thing. I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal how this thing turned out. And I kind of wanted to describe very quickly the process on this. So what I did was I put in the master search term, which was simply the word solar. And then I allowed the software to search and find everything else, except for the year 2058. I did put that in myself because I wanted to see if it was there. But everything else that it found, holy crap, folks. I mean, it is in direct alignment with everything that I've been talking about through this entire thing that's been revealed in this code about the year 2058 and the possible solar flare event. I mean, if these Bible codes are real, and I do believe that that there's something truly to this. I mean, everything is laid out here in such crazy detail. So I think it'll just blow a lot of your minds. So yeah, let's just jump into this. I'll stop rambling and just show you guys this massive here. I mean, you're seeing it right now on screen. This thing is extensive, and you'll find as we go through this that many of these search terms are either crossing over other search terms or literally using a letter from one of the other words as part of its own makeup. So it's absolutely crazy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start here from the middle, work my way over to the right, and then move over towards the left. Okay? So as you can see right up here, the word solar and every single letter circled in red. So that's indicating that this was my master search term. And we can see it right here on line 683. And what I've done this time is I've put arrows so that you could actually see which direction the word is running. So I think in the past I've just put lines there and you couldn't really tell if the word was, running forwards or backwards. This way you'll know which way the word is going. So again, solar was the master search term, and you can see it right here in red, and it's going upwards. And directly next to it, to the left, in blue, is the word flare. Okay? I mean, that right there in of itself kind of blew my mind. And it's actually using, let me zoom in here. Maybe. There we go. So if you look at this blue line, I have the arrow ending right here under the letter resh in the word solar. That's because the word flare is using that letter. So anytime that you see the line extending underneath a letter of a different color, it means it's also using that letter in the word. Okay? So we have solar flare. Very interesting. Now, directly beneath this, in this sort of darkish reddish color, we have the name Jesus. Okay? So let's think about this, folks. We think about the Son. We've talked about this numerous times. The Son of God not only being the Son of God, but also being the sun in the sky. So what are the chances we have solar flare and the name of Jesus appearing right underneath it? Now, Jesus is running from right to left. You can see the arrow. So it starts here with Yud, and then comes over here to Shen, and then ends with Vav. Okay? So it's going from right to left. Now, there's a very interesting hidden, encoded 1111 taking place right here, because there are 11 letters between each letter that's making up the name of Jesus. So if we start right here, I'm just going to highlight these. And as you can see, I'm highlighting the one in blue, but that's because it is one of the letters in between the letters that make up Jesus. So if we start here with Resh, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, ending with Aleph. And then naturally over here, we would have the same thing because we're using ELS, equal distant letter sequences. Yes. Okay. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that sort of encoded 11, 11. Okay, and then below it in brown, and this is coming from the left to the right, we have, and it's kind of a big stretch here, so we have this letter, which is Bet, and then we have Nun, and then over here we have Yud, and it means my son. So you had the name of Jesus, and then directly below it, my son, S-O-N. And then right here in blue, diagonally going upwards, we have this word which means light of God. And it is using this brown boxed letter right here, which is Nun. That's part of the letters that make up light of God. Now, in pink, coming from the bottom up, and it is, again, utilizing this letter Hey in the blue box, we have this group of words, which means burnt, scalded, to purify, in present time. We're talking about now, this time period that we're in. We're not talking about the past. We're talking about this present time, and not too long from now, the year 2058. Okay, so then directly under that, we, in this sort of gold color, we have this word, and it's kind of hard to see this, so let me kind of zoom in a little bit more. So it's starting with Aleph, Resh, and then this letter right here, which Ayin, I think it's Ayin, A-Y-I-N, I think that's how you pronounce that. If not, sorry. But anyway, it's these letters that are in gold, and then of course it's using this letter right here in the blue box. So it's going diagonally upwards. It means earth, but it also means will happen, will occur. Like, it's literally saying it will happen. This will occur. Spooky. And then, of course, the blue word coming down means to purify. What's the whole purpose of this? It's a reset. It's like the flood in the Bible. The whole purpose was to purify the earth again. That's the whole purpose of this. And it's going to be a solar flare event, which is going to come from what? The sun, S-U-N, which we see right here in orange, coming downwards, the word sun. I mean, this is phenomenal, folks. This whole entire matrix is really phenomenal. Now, coming back over here in this dark green, diagonally downwards, and it's crossing over the words that meant burnt, scalded, to purify present time. And it is using the last letter right here. So you can see the green arrows coming under this pink letter Yud. And this word means fiery or fire-like. Think about it, folks. Solar flare event that would be enough to burn, scald the earth. The magnitude of such a thing, I mean, yeah, it's it's going to be like fire or fire-like, literally just sweeping over the earth. And then over to the right just a little bit, we have this word diagonally going upwards, and it means melted, molten. And then sort of below it, diagonally in red coming downwards, is this word which means unbearable, which of course, heat of that magnitude would be unbearable. And dreadful, it also means dreadful. Now, super interesting over here in blue, diagonally going upwards, we have the word Father. And then just really like next to it in black, going diagonally downwards, we have this word which means a covenant. Now, this is super important, folks. Think back to when I was talking about the first word in Genesis 1:1, Bereshit, and how we can break that word down, which I'll show you right here. So if we look at the first three letters, it means created. The last three letters means set in place, make stationary. The first three letters, again, have an alternate meaning, which means to cut down. And then if we look at the first two letters and the last two, that make up the word covenant, which we're seeing over here in the matrix. And then the middle letters, the aleph and the shin, make up the word fire. Okay, fire, fire-like, fiery. And then if we omit the first letter and just use all of the other letters, it makes up a word which means head or first fruit. And then the first letter and the last two letters make up the word house. And then the first two letters by itself make up the word son. So literally in this first word, we could translate this to mean in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He set them in place. He made them stationary, but he means to cut them down using a covenant of fire, which would be the head of his house, his first fruit, his son, S-O-N. Yeah. Okay. So again, interesting. We have Father and a covenant. And then right up here, my son in the name of Jesus. Okay. Coming over here in red, sort of a darker red, going diagonally downwards, we have this word which means burning heat in parched ground. Okay. Think of it, folks. Solar flare. All right. And then over here in green, going upwards, a sort of lime green color, and it is using this letter here in pink. So this means prolonged or to last a long time. Now think about something, folks. I've been talking about the summer solstice solar eclipses that we've been having since, 1982? I think they're happening in 19-year sequences or cycles. And we'll have one in 2058. Then we won't have another one for nearly 200 years. Now, I'm talking about summer solstice solar eclipses, okay? So after 2058, we won't have another summer solstice solar eclipse for nearly 200 years, which is a prolonged period of time. Think about it. Think about it, folks. And then below that, in blue, diagonally going upwards, we have this word which means cut off or to destroy. All right. And then over here in blue, diagonally downwards, we have this word which means tongue of flame. Think about that, folks. A solar flare being ejected from the sun would be like a tongue of flame. And it would be, and to blaze, this word means to blaze or even sword. Think about that. This emitted solar flare is like a sword piercing the earth. Now, there is a verse in the Bible, and I don't remember what chapter or what verse. I should have this memorized, but my mind's obviously on other things. But I've talked about this with my brother multiple times. I should have it memorized. I don't at the moment. I'm sorry. But there is a verse in the Bible which it talks about Jesus's return, and he says, "I will return with a sword." Okay. Now, and I've made this comment too, that if this solar flare event happens and we think of Jesus as the sun in the sky as well as the Son of God, the solar flare being ejected from the sun and just overwhelming the earth would be like the second coming of Jesus Christ with a sword. Yeah. Okay. Now, next to that, in brown, diagonally going upwards, we have this word, which in computing terms, it means hardware. It also means again or anew. Okay? Think about it. A reset. It's going to start things over again. It's going to set everything anew, just like the flood talks about in the Bible. Okay? And that is literally crossing this word in blue, which is stretched out, and it's coming from right to left. And this word means underground. Now think about it, folks. I've been talking about these domes, these deep underground military bases. What is the purpose of these? Okay, I'm pretty sure that the government is well aware of this event, and that's why they're preparing themselves. But they're only going to take a certain number of people underground with them. And it's going to be doctors, scientists, people who understand agriculture, anyone that they deem important. And those that they don't deem important are going to be left to fend for themselves. Okay? Yeah. So, and then let's look here, this sort of lightish green color. Now, this group of letters right here are appearing naturally in the Bible. There's no skip between the letters. But keep in mind that in Hebrew, back in this time period, they used letters in place of numbers. That's why it's showing 2058. It's not going to translate in the Bible as 2058. I don't know what's actually going to translate to. I should have looked to see what verse that was, but I didn't. But it's using those letters to make up the number 2058. And then the word early is right there with it. So it's literally coming off as early 2058. Now, the summer solstice solar eclipses are taking place in June. So June is the 6th month. It's the mid part of the year. So it still would sort of be the earlier portion of the year, not the latter portion. So maybe that's why we're seeing early 2058. Now, embedded right in that is the word sun, S-O-N. S-O-N. Returning in early 2058. Yeah. Okay. And then in pink, coming downwards, we have this group of words, which, as you can see, we have Bet, Resh, and Aleph. Those are the first three letters that make up Bereshit. And it means to cut down or created. But in this term or group, it's to be cut down. And then we have the rest of the letters make up creator, unifier, unifies, unifying. It's crazy, folks. It's crazy. Okay, so then down here in blue, going diagonally upwards, we have this word, which means brightness or radiance, which is exactly what a solar flare of this magnitude, again, would be like. And again, right here, we have the word magnitude showing up in this light blue color. And it's crossing over my sun. I mean, folks, if you cannot see the connections here, then something's up, or I'm obviously not doing a very good job. But hopefully, you can start piecing all of this together. It's incredible. It's incredible. Now, next to this, which means to be cut down, in pink, we have this word in green. Now, this is super ass important. It translates to a hawk, okay? A hawk. And then over here, we have, in sort of this brown color going diagonally upwards, we have eagle. Eagle. Now, I need you guys to think back, those of you that have been watching since the beginning. If you will remember, there was a period where I was taking the numbers from the 1111 matrix code and I was adjusting the width of the Bible based on those numbers. And what I would do is I would start the very beginning, count over 11 and then down 11, and then select that letter. I would change the width again based on the 1111 matrix code numbers, then count over 11, down 11, and select that letter. So each time the letter changed, and it ended up producing these 3 separate messages. And the one that's most important right here at the moment is the one that I called the inner message. Let me pull that up here. Okay, so this is the first inner message. And it says at the very beginning, "To the devil of the seas, the Spirit of the Lord dwells, the eagle, the hawk. Yes, he is the father of the mighty man." What are the chances, folks, that eagle and hawk are going to appear in this Bible code matrix, and it appeared in this inner text that I found by using that method that I just described? I mean, these connections, folks. Now, something interesting here. If we look at a hawk coming down, you'll see that right here we have Yud and Hey. Well, the letter Hey by itself means God, but also when you put Yud in front of it, it also means God. It's the beginning part of spelling out Yahweh, or, Yud Hey Vav Hey, okay? It translates to God, the Father. And then we have a hawk. Again, folks, these connections are insane. So below this, in this green color, we have this word that means death, or to die for the Son, S-O-N. And then over here in green, the same color, but diagonally going upwards, we have this word, which translates to the phrase, "for what purpose?" For what purpose is this happening? Well, we already know. Well, jumped over too far. We already know it's to purify the earth, to set things anew, to start everything over again, just like the flood did in the Bible. Okay. And then if we look right here in blue going upwards, we have this word, which means, again, to cut down. Now, you'll see that it's not made up of bet, resh, and aleph, but it's still another word that means to cut down. Just as, in English, we have different words that mean the same thing. Then coming downwards in this sort of darkish green color, we have this word which means wide, and it would be used if you were trying to say like worldwide or nationwide or all of, and get this, the general public. The general public. Think back to what I just said about the dumbs and who the government would take underground with them. Certainly not the general public, only those that they deem to be most important. Scientists, mathematicians, doctors, people with agricultural knowledge and strength. I mean, the rest of us are just considered sheep to fend for ourselves. Now, right here in purple going upwards, we have this word which means outer space, and pierce, to be desecrated, and universe. Now think about that again, folks. Just earlier, I talked about the solar flare being ejected from the sun, piercing the earth, desecrating the whole entire planet. Where is that going to come from? It's going to come from outer space. All of this is happening within our universe. Okay. And then over here in this light blue, we have the word destruction. Destruction. And then let's zoom out here if we can a little bit. Okay. So this right here, this group of letters here, it means safety. It means safety. Now, the very last letter, so you can see that this is going upwards. This last letter is nun, and it can be used as slang, and it's used to mean like no authority, no influence, and it's used condescendingly to claim that someone has little importance, which is what I just said. Again, folks, what are the chances? What are the chances? They're only going to take those to safety that they deem to be important. All right. And then in red right here, again, we have the word underground. And it's crossing over the word safety. Or I guess I should say safety is crossing over. Nope, sorry. Underground is crossing over this word in green, as is the word safety. And the word here in green means cleanse away, return. And it can also mean sword at the same time. Again, folks, solar flare, Jesus' return with a sword. The solar flare is to cleanse away and return, the return of Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's deep. Now, lastly, I found this really, really, really interesting. When we look right here, you can see these two terms are identical, and they're stacked on top of one another, and they're running horizontally. There's no skip, which means it appears naturally in the Bible, and the translation is children of Israel. Okay? Children of Israel. What I find fascinating is that at this particular skip, which was 5,395, we get children of Israel, and the letters, the phrase, are appearing one on top of another, and there's no deviation. It's in perfect alignment. Children of Israel. Let's go back to that inner message where it talks about he will bring a beautiful God only to the people of Israel. All right? I mean, what are the chances, folks? But then let's think about the name Israel. It's made up of Isis, Ra, and El, which is short for Elohim. So we have Isis, which is the moon goddess. We have Ra, which is the sun god. And then this word El, meaning gods, plural. So it's sort of signifying the feminine and the masculine, and then the spiritual connection between the two. It's insane. It's insane. And again, folks, the only term that I put into this was the number 2058. The software found everything else. Yeah. And I mean, again, this is a massive Bible code matrix, but all of these terms are just, they're clumped right here. They're overlapping. They're connecting. I mean, this thing is incredible. And the fact that this whole entire thing is found within the book of Genesis in the beginning. And in fact, it was found from Genesis chapter 1, verse 15 to Genesis chapter 19, verse 2. Yeah. Again, folks, this is an incredible, incredible matrix. You know, and I don't ever want to sit here and say, because I don't know for a fact that any of this is going to happen. I'm simply showing you what I'm finding and what it is alluding to. Now, the super question here is that if it's not happening or not going to happen, then why is all of this encoded in the Bible? Why is it all encoded in the Bible? There has to be a reason. There has to be a purpose. So, yeah, I mean, either we need to wake up and start taking some serious ass notice to this, or I don't know, we just keep living the way we're living and ignore, everything. Regardless, no matter what we do, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. But again, what is the purpose of this being here if we weren't meant to find it? Yeah. Now, something else very quickly interesting that I just kind of want to point out here. And, I saw this after, obviously. If you look right here under the word molten, we have Vav, Vav, Vav going vertically. Now, the letter Vav in Hebrew Gematria has the value of 6 in the standard Hebrew Gematria. So technically, we're looking, if we were using these in place, the letters in place of numbers, we would be looking at 666. Now, what is 666? Everyone always attributes it to the Antichrist, the devil, it's Satan's number, blah, blah, blah. It's literally, the Bible even tells us this, it is the number of man. It's the number of man. And we saw that play out when I created the new Gematria based on the 1111 matrix code numbers, where the word man has the value of 666. It's the very first time that that's occurred using that new Gematria. So it's just interesting that this shows up 666, meaning man. It's to purify the earth and its attempt to purify man or mankind. Okay. That's going to be it for now, folks. Again, this was, just a phenomenal Bible code matrix to find, and I'm just still floored that the software itself found all of these terms within it, and my only input obviously was the master term solar and the number 2058, and everything else was just right there. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would really love to hear them. Yeah, we'll go from there, I guess. So I'm still working on some stuff with Trump and Biden and Kamala. I have found 2 incredibly interesting matrices concerning Trump and Kamala. Here's you'll see these later, but I just kind of want to give you a little bit of a preview. Not visually, but just verbally a preview. These 2 matrices, I put in the same search terms, okay? And the majority of them appears in both. But there's a couple in Trump's that don't appear in Kamala's. And I will say that the word fraud appears in both. We'll go into deeper exploration of this later when I do that video showing you those 2. But it's very interesting. I think we're going to have one of those situations where one person wins, but we're told it was another, and maybe some sort of investigation's done to realize that actually it was the other person who won. We'll see. But I will show you that all in greater detail coming up later in a future video. So, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this. I need to get busy. And again, let me know your thoughts. And until next time, folks, take care. Hope you have a great rest of the week. And we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.